Michael left the house early on the morning of December 16th, 1985. I didn't know the reason for his sudden departure, but I didn't think much about it. I just rolled over and went back to sleep. What I didn't know was that the feds were after him. A bunch of Michael's associates had already been arrested, and his name was next on the list. It was only a matter of time before he was arrested. Later that day, I got a phone call from Michael. What he would tell me would change my life forever. There is a federal indictment coming down the line. They're looking for me, Cammy. That's why I had to leave the house this morning. They'll be coming for me. I'm sorry. He told me of his plans to turn himself in and make bail in Florida. As he was talking, I was trying to process what he was saying. It was an impossible task. Wasn't he just acquitted? Why would he even need to turn himself in if he's innocent? If he turns himself in, does that mean he's going to prison? Is he leaving us? I immediately recalled a conversation Michael and I had after his acquittal. In hindsight, I can see that it was a warning, but at the time, his statement went over my head. He told me that the feds, specifically the organized crime strike force from the Eastern District of New York, were more determined than ever to get him. They wanted to clobber him with the same racketeering, tax evasion, and loan sharking charges that Rudy Giuliani had tried to pin against him. The conversation reminded me of the many times my father would complain about the local cops. They hate me, he'd always say. They have it in for me. They're trying to get me any way they can. I thought of Michael's situation as similar to my dad's, but on a grander scale. I tucked away his caution in the back of my mind. Don't get me wrong, I was worried, but I was trying to live out my mother's teachings to stay positive and deal with the moment at hand, not worry about what could happen. Not long after our conversation, I heard a knock at the door. We didn't get many visitors, besides family members, and we were always knew when they were coming. Sabrina curiously peeked through the peephole to see who was at the door. There's a bunch of men in suits, she whispered, and they look serious. This can't be good, I thought as I opened the door. 4 FBI agents stood in front of me. Their somber faces betrayed no emotion. One of them flashed a shiny badge in my face. Is Michael Franzese here? No, I kept my answers curt. We're looking for him. Do you know where he is? No, I'm sorry, but I don't. The spokesman of the group strained his neck to get a glimpse of the inside of the condo. Can we take a look around? I didn't see why not. I had nothing to hide. Sure. The FBI quartet walked into the hallway and took a couple of steps around, glancing in every direction, but not conducting a thorough search. I didn't show it, but I was nervous. This must be it. They've come to take him away. Within 5 or 10 minutes of the loud knock, the men thanked me and left. Meanwhile, my sister, fascinated somewhat by the drama of FBI agents swarming around our condo, took watch by the window to see what these men in fancy suits were doing. She gave me a blow-by-blow playback of what was going on outside. One is pacing around the front door, another guy is on the phone by his car. Oh, wait, and 2 of them are walking around the parking lot by the garages. I allowed my sister to revel in the action because I knew she didn't know the potential seriousness of the questioning. I'd rather her have a little fun than be alarmed about the whole thing. I sat on the couch trying to put together a plan. I couldn't just say goodbye to my husband over the telephone. I had to meet him. I was trying to figure out how I was going to discreetly leave the condo and head over to the Hotel Bel Air. I knew he'd be there because he said he was staying at his favorite hotel. When I noticed that it had been quiet for a few minutes, Sabrina was nowhere to be found. I rushed out the front door and saw her standing by the side of the condo, carrying a heavy bag of garbage and talking to one of the agents. No, wait. The 2 of them were flirting. He was leaning in her direction, smiling and acting overly friendly, very unlike the monotone, unemotional robot he acted like a few minutes earlier. What is Sabrina doing? And what is this guy doing trying to move in on a minor? I was livid. This was unacceptable. There was no way these arrogant, bull-headed suits were going to come to our home, uninvited, invade our privacy, and then have the audacity to flirt with my baby sister. I angrily walked to Sabrina's side, and the agent, seeing the annoyed expression on my face, took a few steps back. I grabbed my sister's arm, almost knocking the trash to the floor with force. "Sabrina," I hissed, "get back inside. Don't say another word." And without giving her the chance to say goodbye to the handsome young man, I marched her back into the condo, garbage bag in tow. I was so irritated I didn't even throw the smelly bag in the dumpster. I had the feeling that if I left, the agents would immediately follow my trail. They weren't stupid. They knew I'd be itching to find my husband, so I'm sure they had me on close watch. Still, I wanted to confirm my suspicions. I walked out the front door and nonchalantly drove off to the grocery store. Sure enough, a glance in my rearview mirror gave me the evidence I needed that agents were on my tail. Their dark cars with tinted windows were not so inconspicuous. I bought some household products I didn't need, headed back to my car, and drove home. Their cars flashed like a neon sign in my rearview mirror. It was clear I'd be going nowhere without their unwelcomed escort. I figured I had no choice but to sneak out. I enlisted my sister as my eyes and ears. Sabrina planted herself stealthily behind the living room curtain and waited until all 4 agents were in plain view. When I heard her say, "Okay, they're all in front of the condo," I bolted. I ran to the back bedroom and crawled off the second-floor balcony. Holding on to the railing for dear life, I slid down as far as I could to the ground. I didn't want to jump any more than I needed to. Fortunately, I was athletic, or I'd never have been able to catapult myself out of the condo like that. As far as I knew, no one saw me hop in my car and leave the complex. I went out to the back gate, through the alley where only service vehicles were allowed to enter and exit, and sped down the highway to the hotel.